Hello, everybody. Welcome to the fourth weekly, I'm going to say annual for some reason, the fourth Streamers in Prague. Can we retake this?
Go for it.
Is there an edit point here? This is the fourth Streamers in Progress podcast/stream. And today we have a special guest, Mr. ReverendSven, down here. Hanging out with us. Yeah, right there. Oh, there it is. So, just as a reminder, we are the streaming podcast for small streamers by small streamers. And today we're going to be discussing the origin story of Rev down here. But first of all, I want to say
origin story.
I keep on telling Lag he's got to start an ASMR channel or something.
I do. Starting off strong. So I want to say hello to BunsofBread over.
How y'all doing?
Here. And how you doing? What's going on this week for you, Buns?
All right. Let's start these news updates. So first off, we are going to take a quick tally of who completed the level up goals for last week, which was to make a tweet that gets 5 engagements max is really what we were tracking. You get 1 point of XP per engagement up to 5 XP. We had 4 people check it off. If you didn't check it off, or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can go and check it out and check off the next goal for next week on what's 7 days from today, the 11th. So we've got Crazy K, one of our newest followers.
Nice.
Rev did it, of course, because every one of his are amazing. Me and Eliza. Now, Laggy.
I did. I don't remember to click things.
I was going to say, we have to have a talking right now.
I succeeded. I'm much better than the last week's.
I was going to say, because I saw that your tweets were up to 5. All right, so let me add these points in real quick to my spreadsheet before I forget. And my keyboard is probably really loud because it's right next to my microphone right now. So that puts me, Laggy, Eliza, and Rev at 10 XP points, which is not quite enough for level 3. I think we need 5 more XP to get to level 3. And then Crazy K is at level 2 now, which I'll edit that in Discord after this. So anyone on YouTube that's watching, you can go to the Discord link in the description and be part of our level up system, which every time that you level up to a new level, you unlock special Discord channels where you can have more in-depth discussions with people of similar engagement level as you. So you can maybe have some more one-on-one or group discussions that are more relevant to what you're trying to do, rather than just a whole group of people that are at different levels of stuff. So that's what that's about. So that's updated. And then we'll talk about the goal for next week at the end of the show. Remember, that's at the end with wrapping up statements. I think that's about it for news, unless I missed something, Laggy.
No, I think Rev's given me a very Brady Bunch vibe.
It's true. That's true.
But I like it.
Eliza also did give me a reminder, or give you a reminder, Laggy. And you
did
still
she?
Didn't do it. Yes.
In what way? Oh,
it was literally in the Discord channel.
I need to figure out how to make it do something to my phone to tell me. I know there's.
Do you have the Discord app installed?
Yes.
There's this really nifty little feature called a push notification.
Yeah, it's the one that does stuff.
Yeah, that one.
Okay. I'm old. I don't know how this technology works.
It's the magic of the interwebs.
Are we seeing a blinking coming out of Rev's video?
Freaking probably.
Yeah, it was going black every second or two.
Yeah.
Not every second, but fairly frequently.
I don't know if it's on my end or his, but we'll work that out next time.
I'm watching the Discord call. We'll see what happens.
Okay. So I did want to talk about
It's happening in Discord too, by the way.
It is? Okay. Poop.
So it's not just the capture.
Just fine until we started streaming. But I did want to talk about the what was good, what tweets worked, what grabbed attention, and what didn't.
Yes. I think that's a very good thing to discuss.
So just to kind of distinguish, and it, obviously it's based on your audience and everything, but the one that I got, an angry dwarf king, hello. No, shouldn't talk at the same time. Rev is having trouble deciding who to look at.
What's going on, dwarf? How are you doing?
He's going to have a really jacked neck by the end of this. It's going to be a beast. So, but yeah, as far as my tweets, I had a couple of them. The one that sprung the most was, just asking people what their favorite Pokemon was. I'm getting kind of pumped for this new Pokemon. And it got the most likes and the most comments on it. Not as many as I would have liked. I wanted to know everybody's. I just wanted so many GIFs of Pokemons. But did I say Pokemons? I pluralized it.
Pokemons.
Pokemons.
Pokemans.
So I tried just dumb talk. I tried things that I was just thinking about that got nothing. It wasn't very, no one really had much to grasp onto, I suppose.
Right.
So it was the general question, general statement, just goofing and having a little bit of fun that I think worked for my particular situation. And the one fault I had was once I accomplished the goal, I stopped tweeting for the week.
Right.
And I've got a real problem with generally just like playing my life as an MMO where I accomplish my quest and look for a new one. So I accomplished that one and I immediately looked for a new thing to do and forgot about that. So that's a real problem that I got to work out so that I'm consistent and have enjoyable convos with people.
Right. Yeah, and then for mine, and I kind of saw a similar thing. I made a Twitter post saying I need to get better about doing stuff like in Photoshop or GIMP or something like that, and made a comment. It was like, I need to get better at this. Maybe I'll do a stream about it so I can get some live help along the way. That was what got the most engagement for me. Kind of in a similar way where like you're asking people if they're interested in a topic, and if they are, then they tend to respond because it's kind of a niche thing.
Right.
And it's obviously if someone is going to be engaging in something like helping someone with Photoshop, you don't just learn Photoshop in your everyday life. Like you obviously sought out to learn Photoshop.
Yeah.
So you have an interest in it already, or GIMP, or either way. So that I think it's more fulfilling to engage in a tweet in something that you're actually interested in, rather than just go live tweet or whatever. No one cares.
Like I ate a cheese sandwich.
Right.
Why did they put cheese on the sandwich? What is this?
To that point, Rev, do you have a similar outlook on that kind of stuff, or do you see a different kind of success with different kind of tweets that we haven't even thought of yet?
Well, I'm going to first off say my most engaged tweet was the one about me eating. So there was that. But
all right, cheese sandwich works.
Trust the cheese. Now, for me, throughout the week, things have kind of been rather even. The one actually mapping out this week's schedule for me had quite a bit of engagement. Most of the ones that involved pictures, videos, etc., those have been having the most. Like the lunch I had with other streamer friends and IRL friends, all as a group.
Right.
And then talking about how awful and fun at the same time the previous night's stream was. But aside from that, it's all been kind of, I see about the same engagement of all the other kind of posts, whether or not it's something related to streaming, not related to streaming. I have noticed, though, you attach media to it, and it becomes a little bit more, I guess, attention grabbing.
Right.
A video or a picture or something along those lines.
And just for context for people that may not know Rev, he is far more established than Buns and I in this. So we are very thankful that he's here. He's been at this for longer and is better at it. just all around.
It's something I had to learn to do, though.
Right.
Right, which is what this is all about.
Yeah,
So
this is why.
if we can leverage your knowledge to help others, that's obviously something that we all want to do. So, because you like helping people, obviously,
yeah. Love it.
given your charity streams, which is the perfect segue that I definitely thought of before into our first conversation topic. So, given that, so Rev is a pretty consistent charity streamer. Mostly using Tiltify as your platform, correct? In between Twitch and the contributors.
Correct. Yeah, because Tiltify actually has it's a lot more streamer friendly. It's designed for streamers to be able to use. So it's one of those things that allows you to be able to set up alerts and overlays and stuff within the stream, so that way it kind of creates another level of engagement as well.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I've used it once, but you've obviously used it a lot more than me. So when you are doing your charity streams, what do you look for in a foundation that you want to support?
So usually what I was doing a charity stream about every other month. I've taken a few months off to kind of see if that's how I still wanted to approach this. And I kind of realized that maybe moving forward, it would be a smarter idea to kind of space them out a little bit more. And what I was doing is I was actually just asking people within the community, within my Discord, or people that I talk to, on Twitter and Instagram, what kind of charities are important to them and why. Because all of my charities that I like working with personally are usually mental health oriented.
Right.
Which is why I became an ambassador for Anime for Humanity, and then also I helped get the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation established on Tiltify, because they actually look at it from more of a scientific side as opposed to a psychological side. So moving forward, I'm actually only going to be doing 2 major charity events a year, and then just helping out with other people's charity stuff. I know I've got one coming up on New Year's and stuff, but Black Friday and May are the 2 that I actually take over and do all of my own.
Okay.
But mostly for me, to answer your question without digressing back, is something mental health related is what I kind of lean towards. Something psychological and then something biological.
Okay. Interesting.
Interesting. How far into your streaming career did you decide you were going to start doing charity streams?
Well, let's see. My first stream ever was June 23rd of last year, and my first 24-hour charity event was on Black Friday of last year. So just about, what was that, like 4 months?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And did you find much success with that, with your first one?
Oh yeah. It was absolutely amazing. We had so many people come through in heavy ways. Now I had some pretty wacky incentives if we hit certain benchmarks. So for a while, y'all may have not ever seen this, but I had just a green beard, and it blended in with my green screen. It was hilarious. but yeah, from about December 1st ish into January, I had a solid green beard, and that was one of those ones that caught people's attention. They wanted to help get there. But yeah, my first charity stream, 4 months into streaming, we raised $1,065.
Wow.
Nice. Wow. Okay.
And this will be a tough, and I'm just trying to give people a perspective as to where you were at in your career when you started something like this. Do you remember, as far as follower count at that time, what you were looking at for like average viewership to kind of get all of a sudden a very successful charity stream based on that? Or is it just people looking to donate, they found you? And
I think that kind of played a major factor into it, because I was still only averaging about, anywhere from 5 to 7 viewers
okay.
a stream at the time. And that night we had some people that were really excited to be a part of it before we even started. I kind of put boots to the ground and started really letting people know about it. I was hammering down, letting everybody know. Anybody who would follow me, that was the first thing I would tell them. I wouldn't tell them anything about my channel or anything like that. I'd be like, hey, I've got this thing going on. If you would like to just stop in, hang out for a while, maybe help. Because like the thing is, I wanted to help increase visibility for that stream, because of course you're going to move up the directory a lot.
Right.
And about halfway through it, I got rated by who is now a good friend of mine, Droopy Drawers. And that helped really increase the visibility of it too. And we had a lot of people coming in and donating after that happened.
That's awesome. And were you using the charity tag as well, I'm assuming? So there was a way for people to find it, or?
Actually, at the time, tags weren't introduced yet. Until earlier, which is why a lot of people still don't even know how to use them, because a lot of people just used to not using them. But I did have !charity at the beginning of the name, and I was just like found in the Overwatch directory or whatever game I was playing at the time.
Okay. That's interesting. All right.
I've noticed
Welcome
that blinking
in,
gets worse
XP.
the more I move.
How are you doing tonight? Everything's going well for you?
XP's always doing good.
All right. So you had briefly already talked about when you started your Twitch career, more or less. So to that point, was ReverendSven your first channel, or did you start as something else? And then how did that kind of go from there?
Okay. So in May of 2018, early May.
Thank you, Ginger Babe.
I was approached. Oh, Ginger Babe. I was approached by a friend. Y'all may know him as IRG Chris. He bounces around a lot of streams from time to time. He approached me with this idea of making gaming YouTube videos. I had no idea who Game Grumps was. I had no idea what any of this was. Never even heard of. Well, I mean, I heard Twitch mentioned, didn't know what it was. And we were sitting there discussing what we were going to do. We decided to record YouTube videos, and he came to me with the name Iron Road Gaming, because of a little town here in Oklahoma, which is the name of the town is an old Choctaw word for Iron Road because of the railroad depot that came through there. Okay. The fact that I live next to a train was completely coincidental. But so we were actually a gaming duo known as Iron Road Gaming. And after a little while, schedules didn't get lining up very well and everything. So I kind of took over the Twitch side. He took over the YouTube side, and I stayed Iron Road Gaming on Twitch until the day after PAX South 2019, when I came to people and was like, hey, listen, I was talking to some pretty established people, asking them, hey, so this is the situation that's going on. I've been thinking about going on my own and doing my own thing, since I'm kind of doing that right now anyways. What would you suggest? And well, it sounds like if that's what you're doing, then that's what you need to do. And so the day after PAX South 2019, I changed to ReverendSven, and that's because legally I am a reverend. Two, the nickname Sven has been there for like 6 years now, and it was my Xbox gamer tag, so why not?
All right. Interesting. So both of us had to have the same thing there, because I had a different channel, changed my name, all that kind of stuff. That seems to be fairly common. Have you run into other people that have a similar experience where they either start as a collab or a different name or something like that and then evolved it?
I've seen a lot of the latter, the people just changing their name, as like not as much under the collaboration thing, but more of the changing names later, like our friend Wicked Wolf used to be Just Us Gaming. Our friend Claudia used to be Fatalicality. It's just like there's actually quite a few of them.
Okay, interesting.
Some minor spelling differences in some, but most of quite a few actually of the actual full name changes.
Huh.
Curiosity, did you find any difference in viewership after you had like more of a name rather than kind of a logo or a brand? Yeah.
Yes, and that was actually one of the things I was talking to a gentleman named Promec, who I met for the first time at PAX South, and that was what we got to talk about. He said, think about how many like really top tier Twitch partners, or even just Twitch partners in general, have the words streaming or gaming or something like that in their name. They're not marketing a brand, they're marketing themselves. They're putting themselves out there because that's what you're trying to sell, is yourself. And I was like,
right.
Okay, that sounds like prostitution, but I follow you. And that I only say that because those were my actual words. But then I got to thinking, I know all these people whose their names are just names.
Yeah.
And so that was something I also saw coming in, was that whenever I changed, people I guess, assumed originally that when you name yourself gaming or streaming, you're like a team, like a full-blown team. And people, if you're not a competitive gamer, aren't necessarily as interested in something like that. So yeah, it was a lot easier to reach out to people as just a person as opposed to a brand.
Right.
Gives them something more to hold on to there when they talk to you.
More personal relationship.
Yeah.
Is what I would imagine. Interesting. So you were one completely different channel, and then you started your own thing with a different name. More or less, basically, what that changed to.
Yeah, that's more or less.
Okay. I think we had a little bit of some lag there. I don't know if that's just me or Discord or what. But...
No, I was feeling it too.
Okay. I think Discord's angry at us for having 3 people in a call. It's not very happy. So to that point, kind of about the changing and everything like that, and also welcome in Ginger, and thank you for the follow, by the way. Hope everything's going well for you tonight. So on the topic of change, how much has because you've been going for obviously a little bit over a year now, year and a half-ish?
Getting close to it, yeah.
So how much has your streaming setup changed? Like your hardware, software, everything like that? How much has that changed since then?
Ridiculous. Yeah, so I wish I could just show the picture, but my stream setup, originally I was just streaming from my couch in my living room with a sheet behind me, like a pirate sheet at that. And I didn't play Sea of Thieves, so it didn't make sense. But then I moved my entire setup into my walk-in closet because me and my wife both have closets, and I just emptied mine out because I have like 5 shirts and 2 pair of pants. So I mean, I have a lot of room.
What's the point of having a closet?
Right? I could just throw that stuff somewhere on the floor. But I ended up coming in here actually putting in a green screen. My goal is to actually change that up, paint the walls. But after that, I had a bench with a clear tote and a TV sitting on top of it. Wires everywhere, a lamp, and a laptop and an Xbox. Now, while the laptop, Xbox, and TV are the same, I now have like 2 cameras, actual studio lighting. I still have, like I said, I have a desk now. It's pink. It's the prettiest hot pink, but it's a desk.
But it works.
And I'm also in the process of in Waves ordering sound dampening boards to try to help the acoustics in here. I'm getting the green screen colored ones, so that way when I put them in, I don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
It's gonna be nice.
So talk about your old mic setup, because I remember that.
Yeah, I still have that yarn hanging there to remind me of my beginnings. So, unfortunately, with this blue snowball ice, it doesn't pick up from a very long distance, which is why I'm holding it in my chair right now. But when I had that old setup, I had nowhere to put it. And so I found some red yarn and a drywall screw, and I hung that yarn from that drywall screw. And I'm going to hold my mic up. I folded the legs of my mic up, stuck it through a loop, and popped them open, and had my mic hanging next to my face by yarn, just like this. Every now and then you see like swing it onto screen. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
And then how recently did you change that?
That when I got the desk, which I mean, a month ago.
So for anyone that's intimidated by audio setups, understand that someone that raised over $1,000 in charity work in one stream had used a mic hanging off of a piece of yarn in their closet. So Don't worry about your setups that much is the moral of the story there. It'll work. You'll find a way to work it.
It all looks the same if it's off camera.
Right.
I was concerned there was like just a can at the end of that string. Like that's some shit audio.
I'm thinking about actually like maybe doing that just to have it there. And, like,
just
have my mic because my mic could be here off screen, but I'll be sitting there talking into the can.
Yeah.
But how do you do it? How do you make it sound so good?
What is the old Charlie Puth, Betty Boop? Bring it around now.
That's why he has 3 mics as backup. That's for sure. I went through a couple the other day.
That's true. Yep. It is not a bad thing as long as you have audio. And the main thing is like yes, quality of your your video and audio quality is a factor of the streaming, but I feel like it's just obviously most important to have good content and a good personality displayed in your stream. So as long as you can adequately get that across with whatever hardware or software that you have, then don't really worry about it, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, on that point, I was in my search for people to talk to, came across a girl who she was just playing indie game, some weird indie game I hadn't seen. Her image was grainy and crappy, and she had the worst headset mic I've ever heard. But she had a lot more viewers than I did. So obviously, there's other factors in there, but it's the fact that she was entertaining these people that drew them in. But the audio is one thing. I mean, audio, at least I would say if you're going to spend something, spend it on the audio. She was playing off of a laptop that couldn't handle this indie game. So it was having trouble with the camera from, the laptop and, her headset. But she was making it work. You can make it work, and you can start progressing that way if that's what you got to do.
Yeah. I wouldn't let it hold anyone back for sure.
Be entertaining.
I'm learning that right now. Flugo's whole setup is a literal Frankenstein creation I dreamed up. If it works, it works. Frankenstein lived, so
get some light.
Frankenstein's monster, I guess.
Yeah.
But you're Frankenstein, and then the setup is Frankenstein's monster, and it's great.
Just zap it once or twice. It'll be golden.
Put it on the roof. Wait for a storm.
I tried that once. It didn't work.
That's why you had to have a piece of yarn.
Yeah.
Bad Wi-Fi signal up there.
So I don't have a segue for this one. I've been doing pretty well with the segues, I think. But completely different topic. You've got you're ReverendSven, and then also you've got Zebo.
Yes, I do. So
for anyone that doesn't know, let them know what Zebo is.
Okay, so I'll start with just how Zebo began. We'll go. Zebo's a clown. We'll start there. But so I decided that one night I wanted to try to get creative. This was pre-Halloween last year. Zebo's been going for over a year now. And I got my hands on some face paint and stuff and decided I was going to try to get into character for each Dead by Daylight killer that was out at the time. And I started with the clown. Well, I got into this character. Eliza came along for the very first time. That's how we met. And we, I was playing and all this, and I decided to do it again the next weekend, but this time I was going to do the Jigsaw Killer. So I did like the whole Billy face paint, the puppet with the red swirls and everything. And I had some people return, and they were like, yo, this is cool, but that clown was really something. And people were coming in that missed the last week, and people were just like, you should show them the clown. I was like, all right, you know what? Give me 5 minutes. I turned my Be Right Back screen on, and I went and I just messed the whole thing up, turned it into the sketchy clown again. And then after that, it just became recurring. Zebo didn't even have a name until probably 3 months later. He was just the clown. And now he's got stickers, he's got his own merchandise, he's got his own following. There are people that only show up during a Zebo stream. I'll never see them any other time. Pretty wild. It's full blown. It's not just me in clown paint though.
It's a whole character thing.
It's a character. I try to shut myself completely off every now and then, especially as I start getting tired, because it's a very, very, very energy consuming character. I'll start to kind of bleed through a little bit, but there's a distinct difference between a Zebo stream and a typical Rev stream.
Right. And you've warned people of that, right?
Yes. I always make it known whenever I post, if you have not seen this yet, be warned, it's not the same thing.
Right. And do you think that's probably something important for anyone that's thinking of doing a character to be conscious of?
Yes. Yeah. Because if you're going to do a character, you got to, one, not alienate your current audience, but two, always make sure that if you're going to go all in.
Commit.
You have to commit. XP is quoting Zebo in chat right now. That Zebo said those words.
So when you were creating Zebo, or further defining him rather, did you even worry about doing any sort of overlap in mannerisms or anything between Rev and Zebo to try to retain your current audience, or did you just kind of go do its own thing, let it do whatever it wants to do?
It was drink as much caffeine as I possibly can without killing myself, and just really let it go. And and see, that's the thing. I hadn't done a Zebo's Funhouse actually in a couple of months before I left for TwitchCon, and I met a lot of people at TwitchCon. So when I got back, and my business cards had the Zebo's Funhouse logo on the back without any real explanation of what that is. And so that was when it occurred to me. I was like, man, there are going to be a lot of brand new people that are going to be coming in and not having any idea what this is. And so I wasn't going to tone it back, because that would do an injustice to the character itself.
Right.
But instead, I cranked it up to 11. I went out and got a coat. I got a circus coat now, and I had what looked like a bloody sheet hanging behind me, and I was like, you know what? No, we're gonna do this right. And sure enough, people took to it. Before we change subjects, I wanted to just say Zebo has let me realize that I need to help others recognize that if you have that weird, kind of wacky, goofy, crazy thing you want to do, but you're kind of scared of what, the results, all you got to think about, what's the worst that could happen?
Right.
You have a bad stream.
Right.
So just do it.
Right.
And
I think that's important
often,
for any. Go ahead. Like,
oh, sorry. I was just going to ask, how often do you do Zebo on your stream?
Well, it was kind of sporadic for a while. It was because the thing is, if the energy isn't there, I can't force it. I can't fake it. And I was going through some downtimes that kept me from being able to get that energy up. But now I've been in like just a really good place in my life, and mentally and even physically, that it's allowed me to actually do it every 2 weeks. And we're taking it outside the realm of gaming. The next 3 Zebo's Fun Houses, I'm not even going to be in this closet doing no, it's going to be a Bob Ross painting style stream. a Twitch sings with Zebo out in. I'm going to make a whole nother room set up for that. And then we're going to do a Mr. Rogers Neighborhood-esque type of educational stream as Zebo. It's going to be nightmare fuel.
Now, do you paint?
Not at all. I have
Zebo does.
That's what I was hoping for.
Yes. No, my wife is an artist, and she is a fantastic painter. And when I brought this idea up, she goes, "Well, do you want me to at least give you the like foundation?" I go, "No. No, this is going to be an absolute and utter dumpster fire. Let's go."
Right.
We're doing it. I've got the red wig. I've got the Bob Ross like shirt and jeans. I thinking about getting suspenders because why not?
Right. The little squirrel.
Yeah. We're going to what we're painting is a self-portrait of Zebo. Actually, Ginger Babe's husband, Flugo, is the one that kind of gave me this idea. We're going to give it as a gift to his 93-year-old grandmother. I'm excited.
I want to see the expression. Can you film that?
I think they're supposed to get a reaction video.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Just realized that I am, this room, for some reason, not hosting this channel. So now I am. I feel like I probably should have done that a while ago. But on that topic, I had another question about the Zebo stuff. So when you were talking about you have there's kind of an independent following for Zebo. Mm-hmm. What's your viewership difference like? And like not really like even numbers, but like maybe engagement levels and stuff like that.
Now, my chat stays relatively active, no matter which one I'm doing. What gets me is I usually don't talk about these kind of things just because they kind of seem like a taboo subject to me. But like, I actually see more stuff like bits and subs as Zebo than I do in a standard stream. But viewership in and of itself, actually, it hovers around the same. I think the last time I did a Zebo's Funhouse, the average was 16. and I've actually been averaging about 14 outside of that. So there's a little bit of an incline in Zebo, and I think it's just because people are intrigued more than anything. Like, people are just kind of curious, and then when they tune in, he keeps them there because he locks the door. But no, like I guess the whole idea of Zebo has been so intriguing to some people that even, like, I had a friend that I had met through Twitch who saw a pin of a clown that just says Circus Daddy underneath it. And he saw it immediately. He bought it just to send to me because he thought of me and was like, "Oh, I got to get this for him." And now it's the lapel pin to my jacket. And he's just, I don't know. It's crazy. People love him.
Huh.
That's awesome. It's cool to have, though, in your back pocket.
What's going on, Bubby? How are you doing tonight?
Bubby.
He won't be the only other character on this channel either.
Yeah, we had briefly mentioned that. So don't talk about obviously any more than you want to, but you're not against developing other characters, correct?
Correct. A lot of people, especially within the community that I'm a part of, they already know about it, so I don't mind divulging some of the I don't know if that's the word. It sounds smart. Divulging some of the details. It's like, no, that's not wrong at all, or not right at all.
We got the point. Whatever the word is, we understand it.
Yeah, the context, right? Now, so there's a character that I've been kind of working on that I won't debut until next year, but he is going to be a full-on, like, Old West outlaw. He'll have a cowboy hat, the bandana over the face, everything. His name's going to be Cutter McGillicuddy. And there's actually a story behind that name too, but I was a fake bounty hunter on Facebook and got people to return stolen stuff using that name.
All right, when you put that character out, we're gonna need to talk about that story on the stream.
But yeah, so yeah, he'll play stuff like Red Dead Redemption, which I still need to get, and other first-person shooters and stuff will kind of be his forte, kind of like how Dead by Daylight has become Zebo's.
And he'll only talk into a can attached to a string, right?
Right.
Yes, with a thick Western accent. That's the part that I've been working on lately.
That'll be funny. I'm looking forward to that. It's just very interesting. I don't see very many. I don't follow a whole lot of like character streamers of any kind, but you're the first one that I've run into that has yourself and then other characters along the way as well. Like, it seems to kind of be with anyone that develops anything like that, they're either one or nothing. Like, the biggest one I can think of is Dr. Disrespect. That's that's kind of become who he is, but he obviously puts on a little bit of character for that. But he's never not that, really. Which I just find really interesting that you're able to pull that off in such a high content value, to have effectively two streams in one channel, more or less. Yeah. And yes, there's overlap in audience, but you do get both going.
Right. Yeah. It's I think what kind of helps that is the fact that it's the character itself of Zebo, and people know that it's me, and so it's like this. To put it kind of in perspective, the first time I ever did a full-blown Zebo's Funhouse, I actually had 3 different people message me asking if I was okay or if I had a legitimate psychological disorder. And so that really kind of helped drive the fact that I could really pull off both.
Right. You're selling it.
Right.
That's awesome.
That's funny.
That is cool.
Yeah, I think that gives credit to the production value that you're putting into it, for sure.
Oh yeah, the character work really is exhausting.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. Because you also, when you do the Zebo streams, are they the same number of hours, or do you kind of do longer streams then?
I just go till I'm tired.
Okay.
And usually it's like I typically stream during a regular weekday about 3 to 4 hours, and I think the last time I did a Zebo's Funhouse, it went about 6.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got to be tough.
More energy, and then for longer.
Yeah.
I'm sure is.
So
engaging, but interesting.
What is your schedule like?
I've been trying to stick to a solid schedule of streaming on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. Central, doing like an indie game or a story-driven game, trying to keep them like short games. That way I can finish them in those 2 streams or maybe in 2 weeks. And then Saturdays will alternate between a Zebo's Funhouse or a community game night with Rocket League, or I about to start happening. I guess I'm going to start playing Fortnite because I've been having fun with that. And then I'm off Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, but I use those days to try to develop new connections or try to go support people that I already know. And then Sundays, I have this thing I do with another friend, another podcast that we do every week.
Oh,
Try to
plug that.
Oh, it's slappers only. There's literally no central theme to it. It is just talk about whatever anybody wants to talk about and have fun with it. We'll try, but it usually goes off the rails because we've known each other for so long.
Oh, and to that point with the plug, Eliza, whenever we're talking about a streamer or whatever, feel free to post links or anything like that. So most people obviously in this chat know Rev, but if for ever comes a time that there's someone that's not in here that isn't here that doesn't know Rev or anything along those lines, we're free to post links, whatever we want. This is all about growing the community and everything like that. So, and also to that point, like kind of to the point that you had talked about, Rev, where you don't like talking about things like subs and bits and stuff like that. Feels a little taboo usually. In here, I try not to make it like that just because I feel like that's something that needs to be discussed for starting streamers to have a realistic outcome on how this could turn out.
Oh, no, absolutely. That's why I went ahead and
didn't
hold back on talking about it there. I feel it is important for people to know because it is unfortunate how many people get in this just because they think it's a get rich quick scheme.
Yeah.
There are a large number of people who get in here and immediately go for that, and when they find out that's not what this is, just kind of dead in the dirt.
Play the long game.
Disappointment can be heavy in there and quick for sure.
And that's one of the keys. I guess I kind of relate this a lot to doing anything in an entertainment business. Like if you were trying to be an actor, you'd go out to a series of auditions and be denied over and over and over and over. And eventually you would get that part. You'd get that part that would get you noticed elsewhere, get you a second part. It might take a couple of years. You might have to do a lot of commercials, whatever. So that's how I feel. That's the stage that we're in, is we're just trying to hit that one that's noticeable. Mm-hmm. So you just got to keep putting yourself out there, showing everybody what you have, and be denied by all those that are watching you. And it's okay. It's okay to be denied. You have to come to terms with it. Some people like you, some people don't, and that's perfectly fine. So it's a tough one to swallow at first, but and I get disgruntled and frustrated when I stream to nobody. But speaking of which, today I've been streaming for a number of months now, and periodically I stream Darkest Dungeon to 0 viewers, and I get angrier with the game and with the 0 viewers throughout the stream until I have to turn it off. But for some reason today I had like 20 people watching me. It made 0 sense. There was nothing I did differently. But Grab last week was asking, are there ever games that you're surprised you have numbers for? And well, that just happened today. There's no reason for it. It just all of a sudden I got higher on the list until the audio cut out and I had to restart my stream and half of them left. So they're a fickle bunch, I can't blame them. They went somewhere else. They didn't want to stay for 30 seconds for a commercial. And I streamed to 10 people for the rest of the time, and that's fine. But you just got to stick with it if it's something you want to do.
Yeah, for sure. And also,
try things.
Yeah. Definitely try a million different things and see what works.
And try multiple times. Like, what other... I've seen you in Just Chatting, Rev. What other different streams have you done? Different concepts have you... I feel like I've seen you with a book in your hand before.
Yeah. Those are actually surprisingly popular streams, too. I'll read books, but I'll read, like, not typical books. Like, I'll read Go the F to Sleep or the Cyanide and Happiness Guide to Parenting by 3 guys with no kids. You know, there's like these super goofy off the wall books. I'll read a lot of those. Every now and then I'll read, like I think I read Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark once and some Edgar Allan Poe once. But all in all, I just try to keep it light and goofy when it comes to that, because that just seems like something that a lot of you wouldn't think that people would tune in for, because otherwise they would just get an audiobook, right?
Right.
But we try to lighten the mood, make it goofy, and still be interactive and stuff. It all started with a book called 50 Shades of Chicken. It's a chicken recipe book that has a suggestive little story throughout, and it's super funny, and it just kind of stuck, and people liked it. So I haven't done one of those in a while, but I would like to. Aside from the book readings, I actually wrote a parody children's book based on Zebo. It's an alphabet book, and Zebo read that rough draft on stream, which was surprisingly popular. Aside from that, like a lot of the concepts are coming, like a lot of them are on their way. But yeah, we're gonna do Jackbox games and stuff like that in character. But all in all, yeah, I would say probably the reading is the most off the wall, non-gaming related thing I've done.
It's been something I have wanted and I've discussed with chat about doing, because I end up in conversations about books on occasion, because I worked in bookstores for like 10 years.
You had the voice for it too.
That's what I keep on telling him. He never
I feel I
believes me.
don't, but
He never believes me.
I have trouble reading the chat now. Like I read so little, and I don't know if it's just the misspellings or what it is. I'm like, what the hell are you saying? It doesn't make sense. So, but yeah, little things in, like, I'm hoping to do like Science Saturdays and get conversations about physics and maybe a little bit of chemistry, that kind of stuff. And the more I talk about it with streams, the more people are like, yeah, I'd be into that. So you don't have to just play video games.
Not on Twitch. Twitch is a lot more creativity focused than some of the other live streaming platforms.
Mm-hmm.
That's why a lot of the ones that are leaving are competitive gamers. Like a lot of the big names that have left, they're like legit amazing gamers. I'm not.
Right.
So it's like, I'm going to stay right here.
Yeah.
It's something that I sat down a couple days ago, and when we had first asked you to come on the podcast, Rev, and I started trying to think of some questions, and I started thinking about because you have a very loyal following. They'll kind of watch whatever you play, which is the goal for, I think, everyone. So, and I was trying to figure out, in just by watching rather than just asking you how you did that. And from my impression, what it seems like is, yes, you play the games and you enjoy playing things like Rocket League and Overwatch and all those indie games that you play and stuff like that. But for you, the chat always comes first, is from something that I've noticed, where I think a lot of other streamers, when they're first starting off, because they have maybe so little viewership or something like that, the game is their main focus, and then they forget about their chat, or they aren't going to engage with it as much as they would like, as they should, to keep people focused on them, which I have fallen trap of as well, where, yes, the game is there, but it's really a way to show your personality, is what I feel like. And is that a conscious effort for you, or is it just kind of, that's how you always have kind of done it, where it's, you focus on the chat and just the game is kind of there in the background to something to talk about if things are dead?
Well, yeah, that's I've always tried to make sure that chat stays at the forefront, which is actually why if you ever see me playing like Rocket League on stream, most of the times I'm playing with a friend now, because I was doing a lot of solo competitive, and the higher ranked I got, the saltier I got, and I didn't like it. I don't want to be this like rage, screaming at the TV guy. So I always try to make sure that I monitor chat first. And there are nights where, people have things that they've got to do and the chat's not as busy. But this is where like the talking to myself for so many years has come into play, because I'll sit there and hold conversation with no one. And like I will sit there and just tried, I'll talk. I'll just talk. You just talk, because the way I've had it described to me by so many people, and it's hard to do, especially if there's no one there, but it's always stream like there's 100 people watching.
Yeah.
Drum up the conversation, because very rarely do people come into your stream to start the conversation, and you never know whenever somebody may come in and just kind of see you sitting there. They wait to see what your next move is. And if you're not trying to engage, then they'll just bounce. I think they said you have anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds to make a good first impression on somebody. And you may never see that viewer tick go up or down because sometimes it takes a while for those to register. So you always got to be talking to somebody.
Right.
That's all
And
there is
even
to it.
something I do is, even when this now is uncontrollable, but when I'm playing by myself, not streaming at all, I'm still talking.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I'm still articulating what I'm doing.
One time I was playing Rocket League, just not streaming, and I picked my nose and looked at the camera and apologized.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oops,
Yeah,
sorry. I was
I've
like,
been
sorry.
there.
Oh, yeah, it's wild. I mean, one time, one of my my host alert is an Animaniacs quote from the show, and I was laying there on the couch the other night in the living room, just goofing around on my phone watching Animaniacs, and that happened. And I started like looking around, like, who hosted? Wait, what has happened? Oh, I was embarrassed.
So when you say that you're talking all the time, are you talking about the game or just what's happened in your daily life, or what's kind of the thing that you talk to yourself about when things are slower?
Whatever crosses my mind. I
Okay.
mean, it could be a combination of anything, like, because people's minds tend to constantly race anyways. So as long as it's not something that's going to get me in trouble to talk about, if it crosses my mind, I'll immediately start talking about it. There are times, if you go back and watch when I first started streaming, in front of zero, because I streamed to 0 people for 2 weeks before I ever got my first viewer, and you'd sit there. I didn't have a camera at the time, but you would just hear me randomly just start laughing. And it's just because I would think of something that was going through my head, and my first response to it wasn't to talk about it, it was to laugh about it. And so it's like, wait, what just happened? Why is this crazy guy laughing? And was this guy setting up this clown the whole time? Like, what is
And that does bring up a good point, especially we've got to kind of lock down the main points we get from everyone's origin story. Is you streamed to 0 people for 2 weeks before you got your viewer. What was progress like? What were you playing initially that you were seeing success with versus failure at in those early days? If it was a while ago, obviously, but you can remember.
No, I remember. So when I first got started, it was Paladins because it was free. So Paladins was my go-to, and at first I didn't see any really success with it, and then after a while, for some reason, it started just kind of picking up on its own. And after it picked up on its own, that was when I started hearing people talk about Overwatch, because they were like, "Oh, this is just free Overwatch." I've heard of Overwatch. I don't know what it is. And so I switched over from then and saw a much more drastic increase from there, because I guess for some reason people were sorting from the bottom of the directory and found me there. But yeah, the old Paladins days, that it was disheartening at first. It was.
Yeah.
I'd switched up from time to time, like, because this was again back when there were 2 of us. We played Sea of Thieves one time, but we only had 1 controller, so he played Sea of Thieves while I just sat there narrating. And it just like, it was horrible. It was awful. I mean, he had fun, but I was just sitting there watching somebody play Sea of Thieves.
You're like the little brother.
Yeah, it's exactly what it was. It was like, he said it's my turn. But
give me the controller.
But then it took a lot. I think I started actually falling into trying to actually stick to a pattern of, like, a more of a conscientious effort into finding a pattern until probably the last few months, because it was just, I was going to play whatever I wanted to play whenever I play it. And then I think it was Life is Strange was the first one that really got me going. And I found out that it's like, in one, it kind of helped growth too, because people would raid just because they were playing Life is Strange, so they raided somebody who was playing Life is Strange. And then that was one, and it was really nice to be able to beat a game in 5 streams, because those episodes are only like 2 hours a piece.
Right.
And you don't get that with a lot of games, and I was able to move on to the next one without getting bored. And that was what was really really got me going into the direction I've got going now. And now that I'm consistent is when I've started seeing a steadier increase.
Interesting. Okay.
I did want to bring up, Eliza commented some time ago that 90% of the time she never pays attention to the game people are playing when we're talking about getting your personality out there. It's mostly, a lot of people do simply watch to either to interact or listen to the person that they're tuning into. There's sometimes thousands of options of people to look at. So if you're not better than the next one, then they're not going to stay for you. That is a very good point. I like to watch games I never personally play myself for some reason. Okay. I have trouble with that, but I see what you're saying. I have trouble watching anything, but
see, that's one of the things I've started doing lately. I was talking to Buns about this a little bit, was that I I have started going into streams of games that I enjoy. Like I'll pick a game that I like I've been playing Children of Morta lately, or Life is Strange. I'll go to that game's directory and then scroll down. Don't go to one of the big streamers that are playing it. Scroll down. Just go establish a relationship with somebody who may be having a slow day, and you actually get to sit and talk to this person.
yeah,
Right.
And it's been kind of time intensive. You go in, you spend an hour in a stream just chatting with somebody you've never met before, and in the hopes that maybe they like you and they'll come check yours out too. And so far, it's actually had a pretty high
Interesting. Okay.
yeah, it's actually been a pretty significant amount. Now, another thing I'll do though is, on top of that, I'll see if they're on Twitter or Instagram, follow them on there. That way, when nobody's streaming, you can still sit there and actually, interact, because people are more likely to follow you back if you follow them on Twitter than on Twitch.
yeah,
Right.
And so that way you can actually get out there and, put your little bits of clips here and there, or show your personality through social media, and then they'd be more likely to actually come and say hi during one of your streams.
right.
Interesting. Okay. So you've had recently a fairly high success rate with just going into another game that you're playing, their directory, scrolling down a bit, find a small streamer, and just making a really almost kind of like a friendshipy kind of connection with them, more or less.
Yeah, because you already have the common ground on the fact that you're going into a game that you like.
Right.
Like I went into and you're not guaranteed to have to stick around. Like one game that Eliza here really, really likes is What Remains of Edith Finch. And I went in there and only maybe 3 people were even streaming it, and I went to one, and the guy was kind of like insulting how kind of odd and weird the game was, and the way he was insulting it, I was like, all right, yep, nope, not my cup of tea. Moved on to the next one.
Right.
So you get to kind of exercise that privilege of being a viewer, where you can just be like, nope, move on.
Right.
So
And have you found, as you've been doing that, you've noticed things that you really want to make sure you don't do as a streamer?
Yeah. One thing that I've learned a long time ago is I don't like saying things are trash or garbage or anything, because you got to think, a lot of times there's a lot of people out there that like that particular thing, like
Right.
whether it be a certain game or a genre of music or a movie or something. There are people out there that enjoy it, so to call it trash is kind of just like an insult to their taste, and it could come off as being kind of harsh. And that's something that I learned, because I, like, the other day when I was in that game, he was like, "Oh, his game's so weird. I don't think I like it," which is a valid opinion. He goes, "I think it's trash." And I was like, "Oh, no, dude.
Right.
I really enjoy this game, and you just called it trash. I don't,
Yeah, and especially if you're playing the game, you probably shouldn't insult it, as people are there to watch the game they like.
Right.
So
Right.
unless you're like titling it "Hating on this game," so that those people can come in, I'd stick to
Yeah. No.
flowing compliments.
Yeah. It
Or
was, it hit the ear rough,
Yeah, and I had an experience where I just called a celebrity dumb and had a 30-minute hubbub with chat, and lost one of my viewers because of calling a celebrity dumb. I kind of think he's dumb. So
Right, yeah.
you never know who you're going to piss off. And it's like, you know what? That's my opinion. If you don't want it, you don't have to have it. But at the same time, if you're not willing to get into those conversations, just neutralize all those thoughts and just be more positive.
Right. And so that's what I try to do when I'm playing is I honestly I can't even tell you the last time I focused on a game that hard. Like I love Children of Morta and have been playing it a lot. I don't know anything that's happened in the last like stream and a half I've been doing it because I've just been watching chat, talking to everybody and hacking, slashing everything. I'll look up and be like, yeah, cut him, and then go back to just sitting there hitting the X button over and over and over again while I'm sitting in the chat.
The reason I leave a lot of streams is that they talk trash about the game or a game they've never played. Yeah, it's... I mean, if you're going to do that, at least be like diplomatic about it. Like I'm not a fan of all the Fallout games, but I will point out what I liked about them before I poop on them.
Right. And it's like quite a different thing to say, yeah, I didn't really care for it.
Yeah.
Or
Right.
I didn't like it, as to say, no, it sucked. Well, okay. Well, first off, who are you to say that to say that it sucked?
But that's kind of where, well, I don't know if I want to make broad generalization here, but the internet goes towards extremes.
You're
Loves
not wrong.
and despises.
Oh yeah.
So, but when you're in the stream, people don't want to deal with that. From my experience, they just want to deal with the love aspect of it. So just give that to them because we're all on mutual ground here. I'm playing this game trying to get you to watch. So keep the positivity up. Rather, keep the love going.
There's almost no middle ground left on the internet.
No.
There's a line right in the middle, and everybody's as far away from that line as possible.
You're right.
Pretty much. Well, yeah, it's just so hard to have an opinion that's not either pole anymore. Because if you do, then you're not right to anyone.
Yeah,
it's basically how people think of it.
You can commit to that. I do go into streams that are extremely not hostile, but aggressive, I would say. A lot of cursing, a lot of vulgarities, a lot of comments that I've been in your stream. You're nothing compared to some of these. But at the same time, I can see a huge chunk of people that don't want to deal with that, but this guy's getting 1,000 views. So there's also a large portion of them that are there for that are very like-minded. So you can commit to your viewpoint, but if you have to be willing to take some bumps along the road, more bumps than you would otherwise. But you might end up with more of a niche group in the end. I don't know. I haven't made it yet. So
it's a fair point, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna choose to just kind of appease everybody right now.
What it boils down to more than anything is like you've got to kind of do your own thing. Just do what you want to do as long as it doesn't break TOS. And because if you're not doing what you want to do, then you're kind of doing it for the wrong reasons. Like you've got to remain true to yourself because there's an audience for everything out there. I mean, you got to think a guy made affiliate just 24/7 streaming his pet rock.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if that was just because people were just like, I'm fascinated, I'm going to look at it. But you got to think 24-hour round, 24/7 made affiliate just because he had a pet rock on his screen. There's something out there for everybody, and everybody has their audience. The thing that some people get into that I've noticed is that a lot of times, that you'll form these relationships and you'll have you'll make a lot of friends, like a lot of friends in a community, but your content isn't necessarily the same as somebody else in that community. So what you may be putting forth may not resonate with everybody else in that community as much as somebody else. While as a person, they may be your friend, your content may not be their cup of tea. So sometimes you just have to kind of branch out and try to find, your audience.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. So Bubby says, it's like the other day I went into a stream and they were streaming Fallout 4 and I asked if they had tried the Outer Worlds yet, and they dropped the trash hammer on it, and I love that game right now. And Rev hasn't talked about it. Yeah, like people just saying something like they were saying, it is a public space where, you can kind of say whatever you want if you want to, but also if you're trying to gain any sort of consistent viewership, it's like with any other job. And I actually texted this to Laggy. We were talking about something else. Like, if you're actually trying to make this into something, you have to think of it as a job, in the same relationship kind of building exists there, where, you might have a coworker that you really, really hate, but you have to deal with them every day. So you still have to kind of be nice to them, or at least get by. And your coworker in this situation is every viewer that you will ever get.
Right.
And they can either decide to hang out or leave, depending on what you're saying. And you have to keep that in mind, I feel like. And I kind of brought this up in our first episode ever, where I was talking about, if you want to eventually grow into something, and I know this is just kind of my opinion. I don't really obviously know this for sure because I don't have all that much success yet, but you do have to think of it, I think, as a job, in the same way that you approach any other full-time job or part-time job. Like, it has a lot of that same thing. How do I get better at what I'm doing? What am I doing wrong? But you're your own boss. Like, you don't get performance reviews in Twitch. Your performance review is how many viewers you have, essentially, or how fast you're growing, more or less. Not really how many viewers you have on every stream, but basically just how much engagement you're having and how much people are sticking around and stuff like that. You see your performance report every time that you stream, more or less. And what you do every stream affects that, obviously.
You have to be very realistic with yourself in not take anything necessarily personal, but understand where your faults lie. And if you can do that, at least an avenue as to how to fix them. Because if you're not looking at yourself objectively and finding what it is that loses viewership, like today I got really pissed at Darkest Dungeon. I got angry. I lost like 4 people immediately. So I've got to stop doing that. I've got to keep my temper in check so I don't lose the people that aren't there for me spazzing out and screaming into the microphone. No one wants that. And I don't want to be that guy who does that. So checking myself, fixing the issue so that the next stream is better. And those days that you don't stream, because you really shouldn't be streaming 5-7 days a week, those, off days, whether it's, 3 or 4 days, should really be checking in on what you did.
Self-improvement days, more or less.
Self-improvement, managing social media and all that.
Watch your VODs. I cannot tell people that enough, because almost, I'd say a good 90% of the time or more, people always want to talk about how I'm my worst critic. Okay, watch your VODs. Because if you can make it to where you feel good about what you're putting out, we'll find out if you're your worst critic or not.
Right. Would you watch your own content?
Yeah. Exactly. How long can you keep your own attention? And it can be cringeworthy. Like sitting there watching yourself is kind of weird at first.
Right.
Once you get into a habit of it and you can actually start improving upon yourself, you're like, okay, why wasn't I doing this sooner?
Yeah.
Right. So Bubby has a question there. Laggy, do you want to read that off?
Sure. So how do you pull people in when you can't set a set schedule? Because it's hard for me to set a time because of the family.
We can go around the room real quick. Each of us has an answer, I'm sure.
I mean, I've always had a set schedule. So that might be a situation where you put it in your info or you let people know, hey, listen, I don't have a set schedule. So if you want to see me again, hit the alarm so that your phone tells you, that kind of stuff. Because Twitch isn't necessarily that great about setting that for you. I've got problems, and I know a couple people have had to unfollow and refollow to get those things activated. But the friend of mine, Catsper, who found me through Legends of Aria there, she doesn't have a schedule, and she's getting anywhere from 20 to 40 people on average watching her streams, and I never know when she's going to be on. It's just a matter of, hey, Cats is on, I'm going to go join her. But she does make content outside. She does YouTube. She doesn't do Twitch, but she does put content on YouTube and everything.
You mean she doesn't do Twitter or?
She doesn't do Twitter. Thank you. She does do Twitch, but that's my experience with it. I have to, live vicariously through her, as I do have a set schedule. But, there's also the, absence makes the heart grow fonder aspect of it. So when they do finally see you on, as long as you were engaging enough with them the first time, once they see you on, and it pops up, if they're already in Twitch, it'll pop up that, Bubby D has come on 2 seconds ago. They'll click you instead of what they're watching now.
Right.
So just make every interaction count so that you're the first one on their list the next time they see you.
And then I've adjusted my schedule a number of times because of my family. Mine kind of adjusts with the school schedule because my wife teaches in the schools. So I try to stream either when she's busy at home or when she's away teaching, so that I can still spend time with my wife, obviously. So what I try to do when I do make an adjustment to my schedule is, one, update it in my panels below on Twitch, because I don't make any content outside of Twitch, and I need to get better about that. And then put it on Twitter and then pin it as my tweet. Like, so if someone clicks on my profile, it's the first thing that they see is my updated schedule for until I change that. And if you have to adjust it week to week, like I don't see a problem with putting a tweet out on Monday saying this is kind of my schedule for the week as it is, and this is still subject to change. So just keep an eye on things on social media and stuff like that to see when I'm going to go live. And then over to Rev, because he probably has some nice insight on this.
For me, yeah, me and my wife both used to work like way off from each other's schedules, so I wasn't able to set one. One thing that I always did was I always, as soon as I knew when I was going to be able to stream, that was when I would start putting it out there for people to see. For me, it was like sometimes same day. I wouldn't know if I was going to get to stream that day or not. But as soon as I found out if I could, I'd make sure to put it out there that, hey, tonight's going to be a go, and if you can make it by, please do. That sort of thing. Consistency is a huge helper, but in those cases, as soon as you find out whether or not because the thing is, if you find out like super early in the morning, it won't seem as, I guess you could say, obnoxious to post about it again later in the day, kind of as a reminder, just in case people weren't on Twitter and it got buried in their timeline, they could see it again. Or in a Discord, a lot of Discords have self-promotion tabs and stuff. You could put out there, not when you're going live, but, prior to, this is when I'll be live.
Right.
Just as much advance notice as you can give, the better, because then you can do it again without oversaturating yourself. Aside from that, what they said was pretty spot on.
Okay. So yeah, like I saw that you made a post today, Rev, on Twitter talking about your weekly schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And it had your off days in there also, not just when you're going to be live. And I think that's also important so that people don't expect to see. So if you only have on there like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you just leave out of your off days or whatever, people then might think, well, there's still a chance that he'll stream on Tuesday, and get their hopes up. And then when you don't go live or whatever, or don't even say anything about it, because in your mind, you not having it in there means that you're not going to do it. So then they get pissed at you because people can be a little iffy, and then they don't show up to your next stream or whatever. I think it's important to be very explicit in what your plan is, if you can.
Yeah, if I had enough room on it, I would even put what I would be days, because aside from Friday, even my off days are dedicated to either networking with new people, because that's one thing too that I'm a huge proponent of, is if you make a legitimate friend or buddy or somebody that you actually like to associate yourself with on Twitch, highly recommend adding them as a friend on Twitch. That way, if they are out networking and doing things, with other streamers, you can jump in too, and it kind of creates an even better kind of like friendship type deal because you brought somebody else with you to their stream, and then it becomes like a kind of multiplies the effect.
Interesting. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, because anytime you add somebody as a friend on here, if you go and pull up your friends list, it'll tell you what something,
Right.
even if they're streaming themselves. Highly recommend doing that. As many people as will accept your friend requests, do it. That way you can go in and bring them into your community in their stream, in a sense.
Right.
Well, now I'm sending you a friend request because I don't think we are.
Yeah, a lot of people don't think about it. Or Twitter, where it's like a follow is a follow. But yeah, it's actually a pretty powerful tool. It's something I learned from Miss Alley Cat. That she added me as a friend, and like me, her, and a few other people will go jumping kind of from stream to stream. Now it's usually people that she knows, but I don't. And now I'm establishing this connection. But
right.
Yeah, it not only that, look beyond growth and numbers and everything. You kind of make somebody feel good if they're having like a slow stream. They have 2-3 people watching, and you never know if there's even anybody actually in there. And then all of a sudden, you and somebody you bring somebody with you, and you both go in there and you start a conversation with them. You've just made their day because they have several people to talk to now.
Right.
So it's a really cool thing. I'm thinking about setting up a deal where it's like one day a week, if we can all figure out a day where we could do essentially like a non-streaming raid where we get friends together as possible to just go find a random streamer to go hang out with. I think it'd be, or maybe one day a month or something, just test it out. I think it'd be a cool little.
Yeah, that could be something interesting to do.
Yeah.
Interesting. Never thought of the friend thing. That's why you're on here. That is why you're on here.
We finally figured it out.
It only took an hour and 22 minutes, but we figured it out. So, anyone else have any sort of questions? We've kind of gotten through all of my questions that I had for Rev and Flaggy's questions. Anyone in the chat have anything that they want to ask any of us, or especially Rev, since he won't be here every week? I know most of you already know him, but if there's anyone that has yet to ask him something or hasn't learned everything about him that he's put out there yet.
Yeah, I'm a pretty open book. And while people are thinking of a question, I'll even put that out there, that obviously don't give every detail about your life. I'm not telling you to go social or your address on social media, but I did put my address out there, but that's neither here nor there.
You put it in Discord, that's slightly different.
Right. But use your social media as a legitimate conduit for like a precursor of what your content is going to be and who you are. Let people get to know you. And you guys already know this, but like, you can't just retweet a bunch of other people's tweets. You can't just post going live posts. Get out there and talk about something. Maybe not pick a controversial topic or something, but get out there and talk about something that maybe is being talked about. Throw a hashtag or two out there. Don't ever use the support small streamers hashtag on Twitter, by the way, because I found out a lot of people actually mute that, and it won't even pop up on their timeline, even if they follow you.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Found that out today, actually.
People don't see me. They might have muted me too. I don't know.
But yeah, I didn't know that was. I didn't know you could mute just particular hashtags, and it would just remove them entirely from your timeline. But apparently, people do that. It was like the support small streamers ones, stuff like that, because and a lot of times this comes from your larger streamers, but they'll tell you, don't think of yourself as a small streamer. Think of yourself as a growing streamer. It's like, well, in order to grow, you have to start small.
Right.
And so to me, it's more like recognizing where you're at right now and using the fact that you are growing is, that shows the confidence that you're getting there, but also recognizing that, there is that room for growth important. So use the term. I don't.
Yeah, and question about hashtags for you with Twitter. I've heard word with their changing algorithms that hashtags might not be as useful as they once were. Do you see using them versus not using them any particular difference?
Yeah, I've actually been testing that out myself, and I've come to find out that hashtags aren't as useful anymore because people can just go search that word. Like not just the hashtag, but like if you just go and type in Twitch and then click the posts tab instead of the people or whatever, and whether it's hashtagged or not, it'll pop up in your feed.
Okay.
Instagram's another story. Instagram's hashtag algorithm is completely different, and it's actually to be able to try to grow on.
Yeah, I've heard that too. It's everything on Instagram.
People thought it was dying because they were seeing a lot less engagement, but what it was, they were regulating the whole bot thing where you weren't getting 50 likes and only 43 of them were like bots.
Okay, interesting.
So Instagram is becoming a powerful tool, and of course TikTok is too, but I just can't do TikTok.
I don't know what it's even about. It's so weird to me.
It's fine. So Bubby D's just saying, what if I use one social media over the other? Like I use Instagram more than Twitter. For TikTok, I would say
not true, but
if you're comfortable with it, hit it, but get out of your comfort zone. All social media is out of my comfort zone. I'm trying. See, I feel like I feel the opposite for Instagram. Like I don't think people want to see any more of me than they have to. So that's why I'm like, I'll do Twitter. They don't have to look at me. But I would say start at it. Start slow. Get used to what it is. Having both of them is far more beneficial than having one of them because they're both good for different reasons. Best tip to avoid dead air / awkward silences: never shut up.
Just talk.
Just keep the brain going. Just honestly, just if your character is running, say, I am running over here. I am running to that place. And when I get there, I'm going to do this. And then when you get there, say, I am doing this.
Vocalize what you're doing. Eat like 6 packets of sugar and just let your brain go crazy.
Right. Yeah, I've jumped into a ton of small streamers where there's so much silence. Yeah, and do you stick around? Outside of like maybe trying to spark conversation, if they're not just jabbering away, it doesn't entice me to stick around.
See, I'm the kind of guy, when I do like browsing streams and stuff, I actually do, the first thing I do is I get in there and after 5 seconds I will find something to talk about, whether it's a moment in the game or something that was said or somebody else in chat said something, whatever it is, I'll find something to say. That's where if somebody doesn't say anything to me within 30 seconds, I'm gone.
Right.
Because I'm there for interaction.
If they don't interact after chatting, then I'll leave. Exactly. And I had rated a guy a while ago. I got to start doing this more because I was finding contacts as I was rating more random people. I'm rating more people that I know and like, just to keep that relationship, but I've got to start doing it with new people because I used to do that, and that's how I found these folks. So, some of them at least, but you hit or miss on those, though. I had one that, I rated him, and it took him like 5 minutes to recognize that I rated him. He had 0 people, and now he had like 15, and he had no clue because he just wasn't paying attention. And so I had to apologize in his chat to my people that he was just not paying attention to them as they all left. So it's definitely not worth, any silence is not worth it.
Eliza watched me raid an empty chair once. That was interesting.
So on the topic
raided in, and they were gone.
On the topic of rating, Rev, when you get rated, how do you try to retain the viewership of new people that come in?
First off, you got to be excited about it. If somebody just shared their community with you, you got to. I have the goofy alert, the egg raid on Mojo by Beastie Boys, and I'll sit there and like get hype with it for a second, and everything. But like immediately start talking to them. Give them your attention for a minute. Stop what you're doing in the game if you can pause it. If not, you're gonna die, and that's fine. The game is second to what is going on the other side of that monitor, and you've got to talk to them. Tell them a few interesting points about yourself, welcome them in, and give them a rundown of what you're doing, and then proceed on. And then people will start, people start following, genuinely thank them for that follow. Because again, somebody just brought their entire community to you.
Right.
And you owe it to that person to make a good impression. Make sure your alerts turned up.
Yeah.
It scares the hell out of you. I've been scared by my raid alert a time or two, and it's kind of funny.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Like, maybe I need to make a more exciting raid alert that like surprises me, rather than just kind of like the built-in Streamlabs one, which I need to edit all anyway because they're not individual or interesting.
Yeah, those can have a good effect too. Because my follow alert is "Welcome to the Family" by Avenged Sevenfold, and 1 out of every 3, sometimes 2 out of every 3 follows I get, when I sing along with it, do the "Welcome to the Fam," I'll get in chat, "Oh, I love that song. I love Avenged Sevenfold." Whatever. It's just like it adds that little kind of personability, and honestly, your alerts can kind of give a little bit of information about yourself too.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I need to do better about my alerts. I've been wanting to do that for a while, but that kind of sets it in there for sure. Is got to make it more personal. That's what we talked about with panels last week.
Right.
Was kind of individualized panels and stuff like that, images and things like that. It go a long way, it seems like, than just kind of the default ones, because everyone has access to those. So what's special about it?
Right.
That's zombie.
A lot of your stream coaches will actually tell you that too. If they go to a channel review, the first thing they do is look at your panels.
Interesting. Okay. Huh. Good info.
See, well, I don't know. I don't think anyone's ever read mine. And that might be because it's not impressive. But I put bait in there. I was like, someone's got to ask me about this. No one ever has.
Mine are template ones that I got on some website for free.
Yeah.
I just, mostly because I don't, I can't go and buy art. And right now we don't have a illustrator. Otherwise my wife could do them, but it's what it is.
I commend you all. It really it does take a lot of work to bring a stream full circle. I've just recently been diving into it, and there's so much. There is, Ginger, and it's a never-ending process, at least right now. And if you're trying to do things on other platforms, you have to then learn editing and all, in GIMP or Photoshop. You have to, just to do this, you have to learn audio, video, all sorts of different things that you never would have needed before.
Yeah.
But it's great. The reason why there's a lot of reasons why I quit my job, but I wanted a challenge in my life like I had when I was in school at an old age. So I needed something to learn again. I would get a new job and then I would learn it in 20 minutes and I would do just fine. Wasn't entertaining to me, wasn't challenging, wasn't impressive at all. I think it's great for the brain and the psyche to constantly have something that's challenging you to move forward. That's the one of the many goals here is to constantly progress. It makes you feel good once you've achieved that a little bit there. Hey, slappers only.
Hey, thanks for the follow, my friend.
Thank you so much.
We got your friend in here.
I know that guy.
Welcome.
We were talking about you earlier.
Yeah.
Beetlejuiced him.
But yeah, it's never think of it as something, the mountain you can't climb. Think of it as the hill you'll make it over in just a matter of time. So,
to be fair, you will find another hill on the other side, but just keep
there's many hills. But it's great to get over that first one and just sitting down and watching some videos on how to use, DaVinci Resolve in editing my first video. I was like, holy crap, I did it. And then I put it onto YouTube and nobody watched it. I don't give a damn. It's there.
I accomplished something.
Yeah. I go and look at it. I sent it to a friend. I go, look at it. I did it. It's... Eat it. I'm on the internet now. I'm an adult.
Playing video games on the internet.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've kept Rev here for an hour and a half.
We have.
So longer than we usually go. There were a lot of questions that I had for Rev. And it was good things.
Any other questions? Throw them in the Discord. I mean, I'm in the Streamers in Progress Discord as well. If you have any questions for me, feel free to reach out to me on there.
Yes. So if anyone is not part of the Discord, panel below has a perma invite to the Discord. You'll see all of us on there. There's the level up system on there. Consistent questions get answered there. It's. I really, if I was not even the owner, I would still probably like the Discord. Hopefully, so I think it's a growing place that I like to be a part of, and that's kind of always the important thing, right? Like we were talking about with VODs earlier, like you have to like being part of your own content. Yeah. So, and I like our Discord. So to that point, hopefully we see you guys in there. Any other questions for us before we wrap up, or you did get a response, I think, from both me and Crazy K today. For some reason, I didn't get a notification of that. So I'm sorry that I missed that when you asked.
Right.
But you do have two responses in there now. So feel free to follow up in there, and we can talk about it over there. But yeah. Rev, do you have anything? Any questions for us or closing statements for anyone?
No. Well, we pretty much covered like everything very concisely.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, I hope we got your background covered, and I hope it's educational for the folks out there. And if anyone's watching on YouTube, thank you. God, no, just subscribe below, hit the bell.
Follow Rev if you don't already. I think most people already do, but
comment. Let us come join us once in a while. 8 p.m. Eastern Mondays. We'll be here every night. Good night, friends. Good night, Eliza.
Oh wait! I got one thing. I got to do the level up thing.
Yes.
So our level up topic for this week, leading into what did I say? The what is it next time? The 11th or something?
Yes. Yeah, you said the 11th earlier.
Yes, it is the 11th. My math was correct. So for November 11th, the next show by 8 p.m. Eastern, you need to have the green check mark checked in the Discord to get credit for it. And this is completely honor system. I can't check this garbage usually. Or not garbage, I shouldn't say that. That's mean. But any of this stuff. And what I want people to do this time is on the VOD topic, try to watch at least one of your VODs from the past week. And maybe come back with topics of discussion for the beginning of next show. Say, this is some things that I noticed in my VOD that I didn't like, and this is how I'm trying to change it. And these are things that I did like that I'm trying to get better at and stay more consistent at in my streams. So, because I suck at watching my own VODs.
Me too.
I try, and that's the whole point of this level up system, is doing things that I'm not comfortable with, and I know Laggy is not comfortable with. And I feel like if at least two of us don't like it, there's other people out there that don't do it either. So watch your VOD, one VOD, and come back with conversation topics for next time.
Yeah, okay.
Only one and it's bad. Well, you have to watch it, Eliza.
I was there. You would need to watch it. It was amazing.
So, hope to see you all next time. Join the Discord. Follow on all the social medias. Follow on YouTube to get updates on everything. If you can't catch the live show, you can watch it on YouTube later. We get them up within the week usually. So, I think last time Laggy was super fast. You got it up by Thursday, right?
Well, I had missed the. Yeah, I did. I'd missed the previous week, so I got that one up on Tuesday, and then on Thursday I got the newest one up. So
it's like a 3-day turnaround. That was pretty. Yeah,
good. I'll try and get this one up by Thursday. I want to make that a goal. Is get it out like 3 days later.
Not a bad goal.
So,
all right. Well, I think that's it for tonight. If no one has anything else, we'll
Yeah.
let you all go. But hopefully, we'll see you all next week.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Rev.